Welcome into the show, everybody. I'm your host, Joey Petersen. You're watching Ravens Rundown, coming to you at home today. A nice little snow day in Dallas, Texas. Trying to be a little bit more like Baltimore, but what we're talking about today is breaking news. John Harbaugh just stated in his post-practice press conference that Zay Flowers will not be playing in Saturday's game. He's officially ruled out against the Steelers. And my first thought about this whole thing is, you know what? I'm not very surprised about it. I think you and we all saw this coming. The only real positive report that we had from the entire week was from Kyle Van Noy, who is, obviously, we love Kyle Van Noy, but what does he know about somebody's injury status other than what that player might be telling them if they're feeling positive, they're feeling good, the rehab's going well. But we all knew this decision was going to be made by team doctors and was going to be made by John Harbaugh. It was not going to be made by Zay Flowers. And so you heard reports from John earlier in the week when he talked about the MRI, saying that he's going to be day-to-day and he's going to do everything to get back to playing. You heard reports from Ian Rappaport, from Adam Schefter, guys who have sources within the building. Everything was pointing to him not being able to play this upcoming Saturday against the Steelers in the wild card round of the playoffs. So you're not surprised, but still in the same breath, it's hard to just kind of shrug this one off. Zay Flowers has been the wide receiver one for Lamar Jackson this entire season. He's been the wide receiver one for Lamar Jackson for the last 2 years. And I think what he does for Lamar and for this team kind of gets overshadowed. You look at the yardage total, it's nothing insane. You look at the PFF rank the 16th best wide receiver in the league. You look at the touchdown total of only 4. And again, none of those numbers jump off the page. But what he does for Lamar, giving him a safety blanket, a guy to go to when he's just kind of trying to start to get in the rhythm. A guy to hit in those 10 to 12 yard ranges, and we all know the yards after catch ability that Zay Flowers has. But he's not going to be there on Saturday night. When Lamar Jackson needs to get into a rhythm passing the football, he's going to have to go to somebody else. And I do think guys will be able to step up, but I think we also need to realize the defense that we're playing. I know the last time you stepped on the football field against this Pittsburgh Steelers team, you put 34 on them, okay? It was an awesome night. Lamar had his best game against the Steelers by far, but I don't think we can just forget about the history of how well Pittsburgh has defended Baltimore in the last 5 or 6 years, okay? The last time you played them, they didn't have Deshaun Elliott. They didn't have Joey Porter Jr. They were missing guys in their secondary. Dante Jackson wasn't playing as well. TJ Watt was banged up. He was hurt. All those guys are going to be playing this Saturday. And you don't have your wide receiver one. So you need someone to step up. Thanks so much for tuning in so far, guys. Really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button from the channel. These videos don't usually look like this. I'm not usually doing these in front of my blinds at home, usually in studio, microphone, graphics, all that good stuff. But when breaking news happens, we try to get you guys a video as fast as possible. So that's why you guys need to hit that subscribe button. So what needs to happen from here? Well, I've talked about it all week. You need guys to step up. Okay, and those 3 guys, in my opinion, number one, it starts with Rashad Bateman. Rashad's had an incredible season. He's had 2 times and then some the touchdowns that Zay's had. He hasn't had quite the receiving yards. He's sitting at around 759 in the year, but still, for the third-year wide receiver, I think that is way higher than anybody thought his ceiling was going to be this year. Has he had his fair share of drops? Yes. Of course he has. Everybody has on this team. Mark Andrews struggled with that in the beginning of the season. But for the most part, he's been phenomenal. He's been everything you want him to be. But now he's got to take that extra step. He took in the offseason to get up to that guaranteed wide receiver 2 spot. And now in this playoff game, you need him to take that step to be that wide receiver 1. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. He's been able to get all the receptions that he's been able to get. He's been able to score all the touchdowns he's been able to score because he's been looked at as the number 2, maybe even number 3 pass catcher on this team behind Mark Andrews. But now he's coming into this game. You're asking him to be your wide receiver 1. The big question is going to be can he step up and do it? I have faith that he's able. He's going to have to prove it to me. He's going to have to prove it to everybody else out there. Okay? Number 2 guy I'm looking for, Justice Hill. It was announced yesterday at practice that he shed the non-contact jersey. He was practicing just with everybody else. It was a full practice for him, right? Looks like he's going to be coming back from that concussion. When you look at his stats, he has as many receptions as Nelson Aguilar does. He has as many receptions as the wide receiver 3 on this roster. So I need him to do the same. I need him to be the pass-catching back that he's been all season long. That cannot change. With Zay Flowers out of this game, Lamar needs to be able to go to his check down guy, Justice Hill, and he needs to make something from 3 or 4 yard catches, turn those into first downs, turn those into 15-yard games. Hell, turn them even into 7 yards. Turn them into something. Okay, I got one more guy that I need to step up. Before I talk about him, I got to talk about the sponsor of today's video, and that is our friends over at Game Time. The new year brings a lot of great things. It brings food, friends, celebration, but most importantly, guys, it brings the playoffs. And I promise you, there's nothing that can quite compare to the rush and excitement you feel watching your team win a playoff game, either at home or on the road. And if you want to have that memory for the rest of your life, that is exactly where Game Time can help out. Game Time has an awesome new feature. It's called Game Time Picks, and that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats that you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The tool highlights the best deals, including great and amazing deals, which is the highest value seats at the time. For some events, Game Time Picks also identifies a super deal, which is the best seat value in the venue. And guys, there's so many things that I love about Game Time, but I think my favorite thing is the views from your seat. I can't tell you how many times I've been to a sporting event and there's been something in my way, whether it's a high railing in front of my seats, an extended press box, and you kind of get there and you're sitting there thinking and you're like, okay, if I would have known that this thing was going to be blocking my view, I don't think I would have paid the money to be in these seats. But that's the great thing about Game Time. You can see exactly what you'll be seeing at the venue before you even buy your ticket. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. The other guy I need to step up in this one is Isaiah Likely. Okay, you saw him have a couple of flashes in that Browns game. We all know he flashed on the scene that first game of the year against Kansas City. Was the toe in? Was it out? That was a brutal day. But still, the kind of in the middle of the season, he was here or there. Around 400 yards total receiving through 18 games. I need him to have a big one. Okay, I don't need 120, but I would love 6 catches, 80. Okay, because we know after Zay Flowers goes down, people are going to be targeting and the Steelers are going to be zoning in on Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews. That means it needs to be a big day for Isaiah Likely. Okay, because I imagine you're going to run a lot of 12 personnel. You're going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets. That's just what playing a team like Pittsburgh, that's what you got to do. They got a lot of big boys on that front 4. Okay, so you got to bring in the reinforcements to help out the quarterback. So Isaiah Likely, I imagine he'll see a lot of snaps. I need him to step up, make plays when he gets the ball in his hands, turn small gains into big yardage just like he did with that week 1 touchdown against Kansas City. Okay, guys? And we got to look at this as this needs to be a Derrick Henry game. Okay? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The good news in all of this was I don't know how much passing was going to be in the game scheme going into it. Again, we've talked a lot about Lamar Jackson's struggles against Pittsburgh. Okay, in his career, statistically, he has struggled against the Pittsburgh Steelers. In his career, statistically, he has struggled in cold weather games. You got a cold weather game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who are you going to get the ball to all day long? That's number 22. Okay, and that just increases tenfold after this news. You got to hand it off to Derrick Henry all day long. This offensive line needs to do exactly what they did last time they played Pittsburgh, shove guys off the ball, okay? Derrick Henry, the last game, week 16, against the Steelers, he had 7 rushes of 10 yards or more. That is the NFL record for the 2024 season. I need him to do the exact same thing, okay? And also, you just got to limit the mistakes. When you're losing a guy the caliber of Zay Flowers, the window narrows a little bit. Okay? So you need to avoid things like penalties. You need to avoid things like turnovers, okay? And I still think you can go out there and win this game. The defense is going to be huge in this one. Steelers have struggled in the past couple weeks putting points up on the board. That needs to be the same thing this week. That cannot change, okay? And if the defense comes out, they come out swinging, they play really good football, they hold Pittsburgh to less than like 17 guys. I still think without Zay Flowers, you can win this ball game. Appreciate you guys for joining us today. This has been Ravens Rundown. I'm your host, Joey Petersen. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.